And now, the LSU Football Fix with Preston Guy, presented by TigerBait, starts now.
And welcome on in. It is a special Tuesday night edition of your LSU Football Fix. I'm Preston Guy, staff writer at TigerBait.com. Who's not joined with me tonight is Zack Nagy, the typical co-host that we have. Zack is in his home city of New Orleans, celebrating his mother's birthday. So we had a show on an odd night, decided to give him a night off. So who did I call in to replace him? None other than 104.5 ESPN's Matt Moscona, a man who you're probably very familiar with his face over the last few years. But Matt, I reached out to him pretty late, was kind of organizing the show mid-afternoon as I always do, and just checking in with Zack, and Zack informed me he couldn't make it. So Matt had some other things going on. He said I might be a few minutes late. Is that okay? I said, that's fine, man. We can do the show solo to begin with, and then get you on later on and talk a little bit of news. So tonight we're going to talk about the playoff committee poll came out. Of course, as you can expect, LSU dropped a good bit in the ratings. We're going to talk about what that means for LSU. It certainly doesn't mean a playoff appearance or anything of significance like LSU was expecting in the preseason. All those goals are out the window. So we're going to talk about what goals are still on the table for this LSU Tiger team. You've still got an opportunity to be good. We're going to break that down. We're going to break down how Brian Kelly, has managed, how the LSU Tigers have performed as opposed to expectations for Brian Kelly coming in. This is expectations, November of 2021, or I guess you should say really December of 2021 after all those players were in the transfer portal. Jayden Daniels did not practice this week. Not this week, today. He did not practice today. He's in concussion protocol. We're going to talk about what that means and if Garrett Nussmeier comes in and how that impacts. I'm not going to spend as much time lingering on the past game opponents. I know y'all are probably used to coming in this show. It's usually a Monday show and, one of the first, weekday shows you watch where you get a recap of what just happened. I feel like what happened for LSU was utterly miserable, and we get it. I've done film breakdowns against Florida State and against Ole Miss to talk about what went wrong with the defense in the past. I don't want to do that because we were talking about the defense and it was always with the context of what can get better to improve this team and continue competing for a championship. It ain't getting better. The defense, they gave us a false glimmer of hope. The defense is what the defense is, and it stinks. There are some concepts we can debate, such as whether it's the coaching, the talent, both, somewhere in between. We're gonna dive into that a little bit tonight. Again, though, I really want to talk about moving forward. Let's talk about, because LSU plays a football game, not just a football game. They play the Florida Gators November 11th. My birthday, shout out! Can't wait for that. I'll be in Tiger Stadium, no place I'd rather be for my birthday on that day. I'm going to talk a little bit about the hit on Jayden Daniels, not too ad nauseum. I'm going to wait till Moscona comes in because he's got some pretty good takes on that, I think. A few concepts with that. But again, remember, we're going to talk moving forward. We're going to talk about Jayden Daniels' Heisman hopes and how missing this game could impact that, or playing hurt and performing poorly, how that might hurt him. And his Heisman odds have dropped. We're gonna talk about if that's fair. Might not be. And then Bryce Young put out his top 7. So if y'all watched this show last few weeks, I've got some good insight on Bryce Young, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. I'm going to go over it with Matt Moscona when he comes in. And of course, we're going to break down what Florida has with Jayden Daniels, my confidence in that 13.5-point spread is high. I mean, high. I think Florida stinks, man. And I think it's hilarious what they've got in front of them. But with a Jayden Daniels injury, things get interesting. They get interesting to the level of where I really want to dissect what Florida brings to the table. I tend not to want to waste your time if I genuinely don't believe. Like, you'll never see me break down Army's 22, right? I'm just not going to waste your time because we could spend all day talking about it. And LSU is about to trounce out there and lay 62-0 on them. So I'm not big on wasting your time on this show, but all of a sudden it's not so much of a waste. Let's get to a few comments here. Matt Moscona just texted me, said he'll be here in 5. So I'm going to try to knock out a commercial before we do that. So if I have a little bit of an early commercial, my apologies. I just kind of want to give him a chance to transition in. Let's see here. Trey Guy, cousin Trey, we'll be missing Zack. He had a comment long time ago, like in the pregame lobby. Good evening, cousin Preston and Zack. Ready for the great show as always. How will the changes that need to be made on the D affect recruiting? Trey, I don't think they will impact it very much. It maybe even help it. Players understand teams lose games. And there's not like this long-standing stigma of LSU's where crappy defenses go. Like a situation like maybe what Lincoln Riley is dealing with, where he's constantly got a Heisman winner, but they can't win anything because their defenses stink. There's no such reputation like that. So if anything, maybe a guy like Colin Simmons, who's scheduled to take his official visit this weekend to LSU, maybe he says, that defensive line sucks. I could start day one for them. Maybe that would be, I'm broadly generalizing and throwing out a lofty example, but that would be broadly the impact, I believe. Golden Boot Podcast. What's good, Peyton Daddy? What's up, Golden Boot, man? Make sure y'all go check them out. There's their channel there. They put out good stuff, man. Love those guys. Ant and Pooh Bear, good people, man. Big Cojones Kelly, how's it going? What's going on? LSU favored by 2 tutties. Yeah, it's pretty big, pretty lofty spread. We'll talk more about that. I think with Jayden, I have confidence that they got it right. Yeah, he did. Mark Cumby, good comment. This is Mark Cumby's great. Keeps up with the show for many years now. Yeah, he did. And RG3 had 3. Caleb Williams ended up with 3. I wouldn't write off Jayden Daniels yet. Let's see. He says Golden Boot just says Underwood. Did I say another name? No, I said Bryce Underwood. I swear I said Bryce Underwood. If I said another name, someone tell me what I said earlier. It's Bryce Underwood. Anyways, we're gonna knock out some commercials real quick. When we come back, I'm gonna tell you about LSU's ranking in the playoff poll, what it means, and what's left on the table for LSU. Of course, I gotta lead with my guy, Jordan Spector. Guys, y'all see the artwork behind me? Guys, he's been nice enough to sponsor the show this year, and I love these sponsorships because it's just such good quality art, stuff I love. It's art that's such high quality. The players themselves are buying the artwork, hanging it in their man cave. You can see in the top left-hand corner of the graphic here that there he is with Dylan Cruz handing him the Dylan Cruz 7 piece, which you see behind my studio quite frequently. Guys, it's artwork that's guaranteed to catch the eye of any Tiger fan, and the details are what's going to hold your attention. Think about things like the puzzle piece on the sleeve for Cruz Crew and his work helping disabled children come watch ball games. That's been followed up by 4 more incredible pieces, including Burrow and Coach O, Tiger Stadium, Drew Brees, Dylan Cruz, and more. From the fireworks in Tiger Stadium and Outlet Box to the Golden Spikes Award, he's always spot on, guys, every single time. Artwork is available in quality prints or canvas, and it's available in any size to fit any room or any budget. Art is straight from box to your wall. Make sure to visit the link in the description of this video to check out the entire Bayou collection. You guys see the link behind me on my table as well, spectorsportsart.com/the Bayou. Make sure to check that out and use our exclusive promo code TigerBait10 at checkout to get 10% off your first purchase. You will not be disappointed with this work, guys. And of course, we got to thank our title sponsor, Celebrity Theaters. Guys, Celebrity Theaters is the only locally owned and operated theater in Louisiana with locations in Baton Rouge and Ruston. Because it's locally owned and quite frankly, the owner actually cares. He lives in Prairieville, from here. It's you're guaranteed to see a clean facility, better pricing, superior customer service, state-of-the-art technology. The Baton Rouge location has an invigorating arcade featuring over 50 games. It's the largest in town. They've got a bar featuring beer, wine, frozen drinks, oversized leather reclining seats, which is a must for me anytime I go see any theater. Got to have it. And of course, you get the Dolby Atmos sound system with 3D sound. So if you want to see any high quality features acoustically, they've got you covered. It's the best atmosphere around, probably in the whole state, if I had to guess, because all those IMAX theaters they put the logo on, they're not a true IMAX. The closest one's actually in Dallas. Anyways, LSU came in the playoff committee at number 19. Of course, which right off the bat, you just see that there's no chance LSU will work their way into a playoff spot. That's why they put out these polls and you see LSU's outside of it. It does mean, however, LSU's the highest 3-loss team and LSU will be able to fight for a top 10 spot. LSU will maybe be able to sneak into New Year's Six Bowl, which would be a big deal in my opinion, although you see the teams that are ahead of them that they would have to vie for, like a team like Tennessee, a team like Missouri, who LSU beat. A lot of people think LSU should be ahead of Missouri. I'm not there yet, simply because they do have one less loss. But I mean, obviously LSU was the better team. They settled it on the road. And what else is notable about this? The 3 teams LSU lost to: number 9, Ole Miss at Ole Miss; number 8, Alabama in Tuscaloosa. Both of those, by the way, were games where LSU was in it. And of course, number 4, Florida State. So I've got Matt Moscona here backstage. I'm going to throw him up here. If I throw him on too soon, just forgive me, Matt. I'm sorry. Matt, what's going on?
Preston, what's up, dude? How are you, man?
Good. Thank you for putting this together last second for me. I know I sent you a late invite.
It was literally like 6:05, but I'm down, bro. We can make it work. I'm down.
Yeah, but I appreciate you bailing me out tonight because nobody wants to sit here and listen to my boring self talk all night long. So appreciate you bailing me out. Zack Nagy, he works with Sports Illustrated, usually does this. He's in New Orleans celebrating birthday with his mom.
Oh, good for him. That's a way better way to spend a night, right?
Oh, much better than a bunch of dudes sitting around just talking sports. But anyways, so LSU 19 in the playoff committee poll. Anything stand out interesting at all about that to you?
Bro, are you baiting me right now? Are you baiting me?
No, I don't.
Like, are you just straight out the chute trying to bait me into yelling about things?
Well, I heard a rant from you this week. I haven't heard a rant on that. Why? What's up with that?
There are a few things in my professional life that I hate more than the college football playoff selection committee rankings. If you really, dude, you know me, like, I'm like one of those little that you wind me up and let me go. If you get me started, bro, I'm going to go. So
let me ask real quick.
Okay.
Is it because they're crappy rankings, or is it because it's just a nonsensical subject?
It's pointless. It's pointless. It's a TV show. This whole Preston, the whole thing. Like, I know this enough just being in this business to know this is nothing more than an opportunity for ESPN to create more TV inventory, which I get and I respect it fine. But to make anything of these rankings is a foolish exercise because the committee is going to do whatever they want to do at the end and not have to explain it for anything. Like 1 week, they'll tell us strength of schedule matters. Another week, they'll tell us head-to-head matters. Like, and none of it matters because at the end of the season, they're going to do whatever they want to do. And we got this example the very first year of the playoff. The very first year. The penultimate rankings, TCU was ranked number 2. They were ranked number 2. So the second to last rankings, TCU was number 2. TCU had a head-to-head loss to Baylor, but the committee liked TCU better. Baylor lost. I forgot who Baylor lost that year. Not a lesser team, Kansas or somebody. And The final weekend comes, the SEC champion or the championship weekend comes. TCU doesn't even play because remember, it was the one true champion. They didn't actually crown a champion in the Big 12 that year.
Mm-hmm.
And they're screwed because they want TCU in, but Baylor beat them head to head. So they say, oh, we're just going to throw you out. We're going to put Ohio State in. No, Ohio State went on to win the national championship. But, dude, like this committee will do – it's a bunch of self-important dopes in a hotel ballroom in suburban Dallas feeling self-important like they're affecting the college football world. Dude, there is not an ounce of my being that could care less about the playoff, like the rankings now. Talk to me when we get to the final rankings after the championship Saturday. But, brother, until then, man,
it's not to sound like a therapist here. It sounds like you hate the committee and not the rankings themselves.
No, it's not their fault. It's not their fault because they're giving an impossible task. They are given an impossible task to try to fool their way through this. So we know over the next month, brother, there are 3 more weeks of games plus the championship weekend, so 4 more weeks of games. All of this stuff is going to work itself out, and none of the conversations that we're having today or having last Tuesday or next Tuesday are going to matter relative to what happens those final rankings.
I would agree on the basis of vying for a playoff spot, right? However, what you're really vying for right now, what it really means for a team ranked at 19 with 3 losses, perception. That number is going to be what they put next to your name. It's going to be perception as bowl selections are made, viewers look at you, and that's all it really means at that point.
So specifically with bowl selections, and if are you talking about the New Year's Six or just any bowl selection?
Any bowl, it's perception of how they view your program when they select you and whatnot. But
I think LSU, with respect to that, Preston, is like people know what LSU is and what their brand is. And the thing about the SEC bowl tie-ins, and I know we all kind of get crossways with this now, but when the SEC redid their contracts a few years ago with their tie-ins, it's no longer like, all right, well, if you're the best record, you go here, and the next. So those acts or those what do they call the next tier of bowls after the New Year's Six, whatever the access or whatever they call them. Those are like, while we may think, okay, Gator Bowl's higher than Music City, than Texas, that's not actually how it's done anymore. The league works with the TV partners and they go, okay, well, where can we put a team in an attractive matchup that their fans are going to travel and will be good for TV? And that's really all it is, man. So the whole bowl structure just, like, if I would love to see LSU in a New Year's Six, man, like I'd love to see him end up at the Peach or the Cotton. I don't know if that's possible though, man. I heard you say when you brought me on, like, I think you're right. I mean, Ole Miss and Tennessee have got it, and maybe even Missouri have got to be
got some problems.
So,
yeah, it would be great for perception of the program, but you got some problems for that. I will say this. It looks like a crash course for the Citrus Bowl again, which I ran into some Citrus Bowl officials for one of the games, the press box. They get the bowl committees out for the games. I said, man, y'all ain't here for LSU, huh? Y'all must be sick of LSU. And he's like, are you kidding me? Boy, I hope we get y'all again.
But so much of it is like, it really truly is like, those bowls make money 2 ways. They make money from their sponsorships and through their television partnership, and then ticket sales as well as an ancillary part of it. But if you get LSU on TV, I mean, that brand is massive. Yeah. So like, if you're who even sponsors the Citrus Bowl anymore? I
believe, what is it? Cheez-It?
That's right. That's right.
Cheez-It, right?
Is it still Cheez-It?
Well, and you know what was a mess? At least this is how it was last year. They had the Cheez-It Bowl in Orlando and then the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl 3 days later.
Oh, man.
I don't know if they changed it or anything. That's not something.
No, you're right. It's still Cheez-It.
Okay, I'm about to say, I don't keep up with press releases for bowl game sponsors on a regular basis.
But if you're the Citrus Bowl and you have this multi-year deal with Cheez-It, you're pumped when you get LSU because of the brand LSU carries. I mean, they've won the only team that's won 3 national titles since 2003 is Bama. So,
an unsold beer in the stadium.
Even if the stadium's not sold out, they're still going to sell out of the beer.
Oh, yeah. It's a killing. All right, let's shift gears to something that triggers you. Well, actually, this might trigger you more, but
what are you doing to me, man? You just get me out here to yell?
Well, I got to recap Alabama just slightly. Usually I do like a film breakdown where I'm like, this is what went wrong and this is how they can improve. I've given up hope that they can improve on defense. Defense, big burning question that I've gotten this week. Is it coaching? Is it talent? Is it both? I've ranted on this already. Why we'll hear from you. What's the biggest issue with this defense?
What did you say?
I said both. I think when anything is historically bad, which is what we've seen them at points, like against Ole Miss, that was the worst defensive outing we've ever seen. Everybody wants to point to, well, is it Brady or is it Belichick? When something is on either end of the spectrum, high or low, right? Usually it's multiple parties involved, right? It is you have done something really wrong at this level and this level. It's not one. There very rarely is an issue this bad, not multifaceted, and it's really just a singular. I think fans want to point to that it's singular because that's an easy plug and fix. Well, just recruit better players. Well, just fire Matt House and the problem is solved. But that's not how the real world usually works. It's usually a plethora of issues, and you're going to have to work really hard to fix them. It could be circumstantial. Maybe Matt House is a guy who's really good at coaching when he has his players, but when he doesn't have them, he doesn't really know how to adapt and adjust.
Would you agree the biggest surprise about House, just since you went there, has been the inability to make to make halftime adjustments, because they were so good at that last year? Like there were, think about like Auburn or Florida last year, where of course it was rough in the first half. In the second half, they seemingly got it together. It's like that's been non-existent this year.
They tied it together a bunch in the back end of games last year, and I don't know what's changed. Maybe there's not as much personnel to shake up as there was a year ago. And I think most of your issue this year has been execution and talent level. Most of it. I think it's the bigger problem. But how do you not call things as obvious as a quarterback spy on Jalen Milroe? We're talking about a quarterback not great with his arm, but one of the best runners in the country. How do you not? And you have a tailor-made quarterback spy on your roster with Harold Perkins. How do you not make that call? That just seems terrible to me. It's like malfeasance.
Well, they spied Jordan Travis week one, and that didn't go so great. So, I mean, Harold Perkins just got caught in the wash the whole game.
Well, Jordan Travis is a very different quarterback than Jalen.
He's a much better passer. But what did we talk? I'm sure you talked about it as well, Preston. Like, we talked about it all week, man. What was the thing you were worried about with Milroe? It was his ability to hit the deep ball. So I guess the problem, the thing is, all right, so let's say you commit numbers to the box to stop him from running, and then you leave Jeremiah Hughes and Ashton Stamps and Sage Ryan in man coverage. Well, how's that going to go? So, and then if LSU's giving up bombs away, you're like, you knew this was the one thing that you had to worry about with Milroe. Why were you leaving these guys in man coverage? So look, man, I guess to circle back to your original question, or your original point, it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't, man, because you don't have players and you're not well coached. I mean, it's both. Yeah. You referenced 2020, or I'm sorry, like think to 2020, which was like the worst defense we had ever seen, right? I mean, they allowed 35 a game, which is literally the most points an LSU defense has ever allowed. You had Jacoby Stevens and Damone Clark and Ali Gay and Jay Ward and Derek Stingley till he got hurt, like Jaqueline Roy. Like, you had some talent on that defense, right? So I looked at that and I'm like, man, Pelini let it get away when he had talent. But the thing about Pelini is, I don't know if you heard these stories too, but it was always like, brother, he was the last one in the building and the first one to leave. They'd have an 8 o'clock. They had an 8 o'clock staff meeting. He's screaming over the railroad tracks on Skip Urban Drive at 7:59, trying to get in there. Like, he was just checked out. I mean, you're right. He was getting a big fat paycheck, and that was it. I think with House, Matt House has been a good defensive coach even recently in his career. But he has clearly not been able to maximize the talent he has, and he don't have a lot of talent. But Preston, you mentioned you've got Harold Perkins. I mean, you've got Mason Smith, who in theory should be better than he is. You went and attacked the portal, to get a whole bunch of veteran guys in the front seven. I mean, where is? Omar Spates was an all-conference guy at Oregon State. I understand that this may not be the 03 LSU defense, but man, you can't be the worst ever. Like that's my disconnect, right? Yeah. Like I'm not saying, man, why isn't this a top 15 defense in the country? But I am saying, why isn't this a top 50 defense in the country?
Why not a top 99?
Sure,
they're 100th in the country, and you can't tell me there's 99 teams with better talent. Although
that's the point. Yeah.
That's a bit of a disingenuous statement because it's really top 100 against the teams you've played. Of course, LSU's played a bunch of really good teams, so that throws them down. But it's still, man, when I look at things like, okay, against Alabama, you stopped them on your first drive, gives you hope. Following that, 8 out of 8 drives that weren't cut short by the clock in scoring position. They missed 2 field goals to save your ass with a kicker who had missed a kick in 28 field goals.
But think about it, man.
But
Will Reichert missed 2. Think about that game, dude. Will Reichert, who hadn't misses twice.
Yep.
You win the toss and defer, so you're going to get the extra possession in the second half. You get the stop to start the game, and you get the touchdown at the end of the first half and to start the second. Like all the things that you needed. Like the things that you couldn't control, like the coin toss, like the things you needed to kind of fell your way, and you still. Your defense is so bad, bro. It's the hardest. I mean, look, the hardest thing about it for me, it's just knowing that you're wasting an all-time offensive year. That's the bummer. Maybe this is what it's like being an Oklahoma fan all those years.
or Lincoln Riley. Maybe this is just his life. And I think about how many years fans talked about that 2013 team with Mettenberger, Odell, Jarvis, Jeremy Hill. And they're like, how the hell did that team lose 3 games? And we're like, yeah, the defense was pretty bad. And how much better this offense is and how much worse this defense is than that team. Dude, people are going to be talking about this for decades.
I know. That 2013 team, I remember the Georgia game, which I think finished 44-42, maybe something like that. Great game, right? You just had to get a stop somewhere and you couldn't do it. But and I know everyone's asking about House. I'm sure you've talked about House, but like, man, I don't know how you survive this. In my time covering the team, it's happened twice. It was 2008 when Pelini left the first time after the Natty,
right?
And they promoted Mallory and Pivito, and they were awful, man. And you just couldn't justify keeping them. And then 2020 was the other time. So, man, I'd say the only time before it, man, I don't know if you remember, would have been
Lou
Tepper.
Oh yeah, Matt. I ain't that young.
Bro, and DiNardo was that
complete
stubborn, man. DiNardo was that stubborn that he just wouldn't fire him, man. And that ended up being his undoing in '99. Old Thomas Dunson.
It would drive you nuts, the press conferences where they'd say, this is the most complicated defense ever put together. It will take 2 or 3 years for the players to learn. Bro, these are college players, man. Like, you ain't got to
complicate it.
Anyways, all right, get a couple super chats. Dane Bergeron, House is in
what up, Dane?
Head. Yeah, Dane, he's a really good watcher, man, and he's been a TigerBait subscriber for years.
Dane is a U.S. Army veteran, man. Did you see the on Whiskey and Wine when the guy who came in and put the face claw on T-Bob?
I didn't know. I don't. So I'm writing my post game story when the show's on.
No worries, man. T-Bob, let's say T-Bob before the Army game made an unkind comment about the troops in jest.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I saw the clip.
Well, Dane, who's like special forces, came in the next week and was like, and put T-Bob in a headlock. It was perfect.
Hey, kudos to you, Dane. That was the right move.
Hell
T-Bob
yeah, it
was
was.
out of line, man. You can't say it. That clip with you and T-Bob. Have you ever seen the meme from what's that soccer show, Apple TV? Oh man. Oh, it's gonna kill me. Anyways, I'll bring it up later. But
It's gonna hit me. With Sudeikis.
Jason Sudeikis. Ted Lasso.
Yeah, thank you.
We can't encourage this. Yes, we can. We need to live. Yeah, that's what that reminded me of. All right, Devin Johnson with a super chat. A soft football team. Get used to it. Go Tigers. I mean, there's not much evidence, at least on one side of the ball. There's not much evidence to argue you there. Yeah. You know what wasn't soft on Saturday was Dallas Turner hitting Jayden Daniels. First off, was it targeting?
Of course.
I mean, my God. If that ain't target, and look, I've had the rules for targeting on speed dial this year. It's like a 1,200 word essay that the SEC put out of what is targeting. And I was like, by every definition, that fits it. Number one, it was definitely targeting. Does it matter is my question, because they got the 15 yards. The game was already out of reach. Yeah. Really, it's just about holding Dallas Turner accountable and suspending him for the game and next week.
Yeah, like they were down 14 already. So right. you would have needed 3 scores, and you would need to score in that possession, get 2 stops, and continue scoring.
Or an overtime.
There was the game was over. Like you weren't stopping them. So the play didn't affect the outcome. It's maddening that we live in a day and age where a football day and age where everybody knows what you can and can't do. Preston, like 30 years ago, they would have taken that hit, put it on a VHS, and sold it, right? Of the big hits VHS. Like, you can't do it now. Like, we all know it. You can't go high on a quarterback. You can't land your body weight on him. I mean, Dallas Turner's feet are off the ground, bro. Like, and he's a dirty player. Look, a lot of Alabama fans are mad at me. I went on this rant about Turner. And look, I got to meet him at SEC Media Days. And literally, dude, he was my favorite player I interviewed at SEC Media Days. He's a superstar player that is going to be an A-plus dude for whatever team drafts him. But, dude, he's dirty. He did the same thing to Quinn Ewers last year. He did the same thing to Jackson Dart, where he ripped his helmet off and shoved his face in the ground. Like, that's cool. You play with an edge, and your teammates may love it, and your fans may love it, but it doesn't make you less dirty, dude. You're Ndamukong Suh. You're a freaking phenomenal player who's always looking, when you can punch someone in the nuts when the ref ain't looking. I mean, that's what you are. So, I think it sucks for Jayden. I hope it doesn't hold him out this week, man, because obviously you want him to be healthy, but shoot, man, he's putting together this historic season. You'd hate to see him miss a game as a result of that.
Well, that's a perfect transition to my teaser. We're going to do a quick little commercial break. We'll be right back after that. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Jayden Daniels injury. Jayden Daniels missed practice today. So we're going to talk about the impact of that, impact on his Heisman contention. We're going to talk about how LSU's matchup with Florida changes if Garrett Nussmeier's the guy. So y'all don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. But first, we're going to hear from Drip IV, and they're going to tell us about semaglutide. So let's all just listen in real quick.
Hi, everybody. We're so excited to share the news that both our Lafayette and our Baton Rouge location are offering semaglutide for weight loss. If you or someone you know are interested in our medically assisted weight loss program with semaglutide, call Kylie in Lafayette or myself in Baton Rouge. We'd love to speak with you.
And guys, if you've been struggling to lose weight, maybe you've already heard of semaglutide or Ozempic, whatever you want to call it, from a friend or family member, this is your sign to check it out. Drip IV offers medically assisted weight loss with semaglutide at their Baton Rouge and Lafayette locations. Call them to book your consultation. They'd love to speak with you. They will also guide you to the perfect IV drip that fits your needs. These IVs are great for anybody feeling under the weather or in need of an energy boost. They are loaded with vitamin C and other great vitamins, amino acids, and electrolytes designed to get you back feeling your best in a hurry. Whether it's a hangover, cold, preparing for vacation, or whatever you may need, they've got you covered. Located next to Sushi Yama and Iverstein's in Perkins Crossings, on the corner of Perkins and Essence, a super convenient spot. And as always, walk-ins are welcome. Please say TigerBait.com for $10 off your first IV drip. For appointments, you can book online or call them at 225-256-3634. And of course, we got to thank our title sponsor tonight, Celebrity Theaters. Guys, don't forget, they've got you covered with weekly specials. Monday is Senior Savings Day. It's for $5 off for all patrons over the age of 55. Tuesday is Bargain Tuesday, discounted movie tickets from concessions for all. Wednesday is College Night. Admission for college students after 5 p.m. is $5. And Baton Rouge has half off for arcades all day long. Thursday is Baton Rouge location only, Thirsty Thursday, where they have their discounted bar items. And Matt, I don't know about you, man, but like the ability to go to a movie theater and have a beer while in like a lazy boy, that feels like one of the few things the future got right. Disappointed in a lot of other areas of the future, but that's one that's really good.
Dude, right. I used to go to Celebrity Theaters when it was Oak Cinema 8. I grew up right. Did you grow up in that area?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Where did you grow up?
Lake Sherwood Acres. So it's like,
oh, no kidding. Yeah,
it's like
for sure.
A quarter mile up the road for it.
So I was the other way in Shenandoah.
Yeah. So it's right in that same area, man.
Yeah,
and it's like, it's so good. Like, and it used to be just the old rundown cheap theater. I grew up going there, and then
man.
One day, I went in when they did all this renovations and stuff. Now it's all fancy and bougie. And I saw their marketing girl was there. I was like, hey, you ever want to do a show? Come check us out. So now I love it, man. And this is something that I would promote before.
Yeah, man. They do a great job. I love that it's local ownership too.
Yep. Shane Morrison, great guy. Used to work for him actually at Santa Fe Cattle Company. Yeah.
Heck yeah, dude. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yep. Anyway, so let's talk some football here, guys. Jayden Daniels did not practice today. He's in concussion protocol. The first, and I would say most pertinent question with this is, what's your opinion on handling of Jayden Daniels? Do you rush him out there to kind of save grace for, quite frankly, his chance to win a Heisman Trophy and LSU's chance to win 10 football games? Or do you play this safe because he might be a first or second round draft pick and have a really bright future ahead of him?
Yeah. So I think if it were any other injury, I think you'd weigh that. I think with a concussion protocol, like it's not, hey man, do you want to go tough it out? Like you have to clear concussion standards. And a lot of times what happens is they'll do, so they get what's, I've actually done this over at Brock. They'll get a baseline standard on athletes, right? So before a season starts, they'll do these tests where, you got to like stand on one leg and you have to count backwards, and it's like all timed, and they chart down. So they get your baseline, right? And so then when you have a concussion, you have to go through all these tests, and like if your time is your reaction time, decision time, that's how they determine you're still not back to your normal frame of mind. So like I don't even think, Preston, it's a matter of do you rush him back? Like he's got to pass if he's in concussion protocol, like he has to pass that. So if he
procedure,
absolutely. Thank you. Better way to say it. So if he passes that and he's good, I'll go play. Yeah. I don't know. Like if you've heard anything, I mean, what I said on my show today, the conversations I've had, the good news seems to be that his symptoms Saturday were very mild. And I got the sense that they felt he was going to play Saturday against Florida. So, look, man, I don't think Jayden Daniels needs to practice this week. I think Jayden Daniels is doing just fine. So, if he clears the protocols, do you agree? Like, I think if he clears the protocols, he's going to play.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if he's 100% and healthy, let him go for sure.
I think, like, there's a difference with you remember a few years back when Drew Brees forget what injury he had.
You're gonna have to be more specific.
I think right. I know that's what I'm trying to remember which injury it was. I think it was maybe when he hurt his thumb, and it was like he was. They had a game like against Arizona who was trash or somebody, and then the bye was the next week, and it was like, man, why rush him back this week when just give him this week, you're gonna win anyway, and then you got the bye, give him like basically 2 extra weeks. But and the explanation was, look, I mean, if he's cleared and he could hold the ball, he can play, he's going to go play. Right. So I kind of feel the same way. Like, if it's an injury, it's one of those type of things. Man, if you're cleared and you can play, you go play. So I think, I mean, I expect to see Jayden Saturday against Florida. I do.
I agree. And I like that this is out of the coach's hands as being the severity of what concussions can do to you. I don't know about y'all, but when I played football, it was like, you got a concussion. It's like, hey boy, you got your bell rung? All right, let's see how many fingers I'm holding up. Get back out there. It was not
smelling salts. Get back in.
It was like, suck it up, man. Don't be such a pussy about it. You know? And y'all, I played for Warren Capone, who was a All-American linebacker at LSU.
It's old school, bro.
Let me tell you, he definitely has some CTE going on with himself. Did not care. He was like, you're out there no matter what, my guy. So if I ever like stutter on a word or miss a name, just that's why, guys.
That's why. Warren.
Blame Warren. I constantly do, okay, for most of the problems in my life. But anyways, I concur. Yeah, if you pass, he doesn't need a practice snap. What's he need a practice for? I mean, he's been here. He gets it. He knows this offense like the back of his hand.
Would you be interested to see Garrett?
Oh, I mean, of course, because there's questions that I have. How much faith do you have in Garrett Nussmeier going into this offseason? I haven't seen Garrett Nussmeier be prepared as the starter yet. The sample we got last week, you can't, I mean, that was about as tough a spot as you could ever throw a guy into. What was he supposed to do? I mean, he tried his best and he had some good throws. And quite frankly, Malik dropped the final one. And that's a chemistry issue. That is, you've been throwing with Jayden Daniels for 2 years now, and you know exactly how his ball spins. You know exactly the way he puts it. You know what to expect. With Garrett, it's a completely different style of quarterback. So, of course, that's what led to the drop. Yeah, I would be interested. I'll tell you what, the matchup gets a lot more interesting because right now Vegas has LSU 13.5.
Yeah.
And they should, because Florida stinks. They're 5-4. And typically I wouldn't even want to waste your time too much like going through the match. Like, I think LSU would smoke them with Jayden Daniels out there. They're not very good offensively. If
I could give you one, sorry to interrupt.
Go for it.
One thing about Florida. So they were terrible to start the season, right?
Sure.
They lost to Utah. No crime in losing to Utah, but they look bad losing to Utah.
They did.
And they got smoked at Kentucky. And then they beat Vanderbilt in South Carolina. And for 2 weeks, Graham Mertz was the most – I think did he throw for 400 against South Carolina? You remember that off the top?
They put 42 on them.
Here it is.
I didn't have his game log on.
Here it is. 30 of 48 for 423 and 3 touchdowns. Yeah. So everyone's like, oh, Graham Mertz, he's turned the corner. See, he's good. And Florida, and then they went and played Georgia. It's like, no, he just played Vanderbilt in South Carolina. So I'm kind of like, is LSU Vanderbilt in South Carolina?
Well, let's put it like this. Do you think with Jayden Daniels rolling out there, do you think 41's enough? But that's what he put up 423 and 41. You think it's enough? I really don't. I really don't. It might be enough to make it a close game, but Jayden Daniels is hanging his 40+ on you. You best believe. And at home, Tiger Stadium at night, you're the Florida Gators. I mean, we know how this fan base feels about Florida. I don't. But with Garrett Nussmeier out there, it becomes very intriguing to where I don't know what to expect from Garrett Nussmeier. I mean, on paper, he kind of looks like one of the best backups, certainly one of the most veteran backups in the country with most reps, but really don't know what to expect with this offense. And let me make the case for Florida real quick. 29.1 points per game, right? Solid. That means that you can expect at least a touchdown added on top of that from this LSU defense.
That's so sad, but it's true.
That's where you're at, guys. It's just reality, and Florida is 5-4. You know who their next 3 games are?
Yes, I do. But
I'm
go
sure
ahead.
you do. LSU, Missouri, and Florida State.
They're not
not
going to
going
a
to be
bowl.
favored in any of them, right?
Preston, they're not going to a bowl.
All right, now
and the Missouri game is in Como.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. And let me ask you this now: if you're Billy Napier and you're going against the team that didn't give you a phone call, right? And no matter what Glenn Gilbo says, by the way, didn't give you a phone call, right?
Oh, he got no phone call.
Right. Like left you on hang, right? And they're 45 minutes away. And you're now 5-4 with a chance to, you don't go to a bowl game. Shit's about to hit the fan, right? And the 3 teams in your way to a bowl game are Missouri with Brady Cook cooking on the road. Florida State, we all know what Florida State is, and LSU with their quarterback hurt, and this is the hypothetical, with Jayden Daniels not able to play. Which one of those games seems most winnable to you?
I would
without
like.
Jayden.
Oh, without Jayden.
Without Jayden, let's
LSU.
assume he's out.
Yeah, LSU.
Doesn't it? So, to me, especially if Jayden doesn't play, you're giving him your best punch. Now, if Jayden's on the field, I mean, LSU beat Missouri on the road.
Yeah,
but Missouri becomes your best shot. But without Jayden, you're going to give it your absolute best freaking shot, man. Could be an interesting game.
look, if Jayden's not there, the complete complexion changes. And the one thing, and I know a lot of people are excited about Garrett, but the one thing that's been a consistent bugaboo when he has played and when you have conversations with the coaches, they'll tell you the same thing. It's just the decision making. I mean, everybody can watch the kid, and dude, you love that he's a gamer, and everybody can see that. I mean, he's just a dude that don't give. You know what I mean? Like he'll get in your face, and he's that dude, and I love that about him. And he can make every throw. Like there's no doubt about that. He's got a better arm than Jayden. I mean, if you just say, "Hey, stand on the goal line and throw it," who's going to throw the ball farther? Garrett will. But decision making, man, is he going to put you in the spot where he tries to force the ball into coverage and he turns it over? And look, man, that's how you lose a game to another. Look, I mean, that was the game he started, man, as a freshman against Arkansas, the overtime game they lost when they benched Max and they started Garrett. It was that kind of thing, man. So yeah, you do worry about that if it comes out. Hopefully it doesn't, man. I mean, for all the reasons that we said, I mean, selfishly, we all want to see Jayden Daniels finish the season strong, have 3 more great games, pile up huge numbers, and go win a Heisman Trophy. There's intrigue, though, to see what Garrett would do if he gets the opportunity.
And look, with me at the point of Jay, I've talked to his mom a good bit, been covering Jayden. I've interviewed him a few times. Really likable kid. Just knowing him and who he is, I genuinely would hurt as a person if you rush him out there and hinder his ability to go be an NFL player because you rushed him out there, especially when championships aren't on the line for this team.
Yeah. But again, I think, Preston, I really think though it's a different conversation. Like if he had tweaked his knee and he was trying to go play through it, I think that's a different conversation than the conversation we're having, because like we said, like you've got to pass concussion protocol.
It's out of their hands. Right.
It is like they can't just say, "Oh, let's just go see how you do, kid."
Right.
He's got to be cleared, and Stephen Etheridge, who's the team doc, is a great doctor, and I mean, obviously Jack Marucci, who's who's the head trainer. I mean, like they're just not going to put that kid out there. They're not going to clear him if he's not ready.
Right.
So
it's going to be a standardized procedure, and they'll follow all the laws. I hope it goes well, and I hope he's protected. Because he's got a very bright future on him, man. Cannot wait to see that future for him. I think we can agree though with Garrett Nussmeier, this becomes a very intriguing matchup if that is the case. I would say, I would call it a push in my opinion, just based on what I know about Garrett Nussmeier. A push.
So if I just look at it through like a Vegas lens, right? you would assume so with Jayden, LSU is a 2-touchdown favorite. I don't think Vegas would correct the line 14 points. 6 or 7.
They're not going to do that. That's not how Vegas operates. I'm just telling you what I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say, man, I give me either team. I think LSU has a 50-50 chance of winning if Nussmeier's out there. And that's just because of the unknown. I don't know what you're going to get. I'm going to guess that Jayden Daniels is worth 10 to 14 points, something like that. Just a guess. It's
been that kind of year for him. But man, God, I can't get out of my head though, Preston, like watching that Florida game against Arkansas. Arkansas is a bad football team. And that was, I get they were coming off a bye, but they just fired their OC. So you got a new play caller in there. And man, KJ Jefferson just took over that game. Like they couldn't stop him from running the football. He was bulldozing dudes. And you lose that element, the running quarterback element, if Jayden's not out there. But man, I can't get out of my head how badly Arkansas sort of bullied Florida. So in Tiger Stadium at night, man,
you're still taking Nuss. You're riding the Nuss Bus.
Yeah, that'd be hard to imagine, man. It'd be hard to imagine Florida coming in here and winning that game, even without Jayden.
The reason is not because of how quality of a team. I think it's the motivation factor. This is our opportunity to make a bowl game, and it'd be embarrassing not to. I think that off the field stuff is why it's like that's pretty darn close to me. And I think it's also fair to say you're talking about Arkansas. The Arkansas that went to Tiger Stadium is probably a much better football team than the utterly demoralized, broken Arkansas team that rolled into Florida. Right? Fair.
And remember also, the kid from Arkansas who had the big day was the tight end, the freshman tight end number 9. His name's slipping my mind, but he got hurt.
Oh my God, he was unbelievable. God, he's got some long Scandinavian
Haas.
Yeah, that's right. Short Scandinavian name.
See, I'm looking around at 6 for 116 and 2 touchdowns. He got hurt. He's out for the year. So that's another receiving threat they don't have in their offense as well. So so to your point, Arkansas is a much lesser team now than they were when they came to Baton Rouge.
Right.
So
devil's advocate. The passes he caught, I think one of us might have been able to make the catch.
That's true.
Maybe not get the yak. That was a great defense on those plays.
Andre Sam, what are you doing? Go cover the tight end.
I love Andre Sam though as a kid. I love his energy though. But oh man, not the best spot there. All right, one more commercial break. We're going to talk about. Bryce Underwood put out his top 7. So we're going to talk about perception of the program, recruiting, that kind of stuff about, what it means. So before we do that though, I got to thank Celebrity Theaters for making everything we do possible as our title sponsor this year. Guys, they have 8 to 10 auditoriums and they are able to host any of your event, whether you're interested in hosting a birthday party, private movie screening, corporate meeting, or arcade or party. They've got the perfect facility to fit your needs. They're proud to offer birthday packages for children of all ages. Let them handle everything from movies to entertainment to setup to cleanup. For more information or to book your party online, visit celebritytheaters.com/events or give an email at events@celebritytheaters.com. And of course, we also have to thank Alumni Hall. Hey, Tiger fans, when you want to show your LSU pride, Alumni Hall is your ultimate shopping experience. The best and largest selection of apparel for the whole family. Nike Golf, Champion, Columbia, Peter Millar, Southern Tide, hats, Yeti, gifts, accessories, and more. LSU students, faculty, and military receive 10% off in-store every day. And you can earn cash back with their Hall Pass Rewards program. Alumni Hall, located in Perkins Row, or anytime at alumnihall.com. Alumni Hall, where Tiger fans shop. Matt, do you own a bird?
That's my son.
Oh, that's the son? No. Oh, I didn't mean to call you a bird. I apologize.
No, dude. He's just, dude, I'm so numb to it. It's almost like, you hear noises in your house. It just becomes second nature to whatever. No, that is my son in there probably watching like elevator videos on the iPad and having a hell of a time doing it. So that's the squawking you hear in there.
That might be the unintentionally meanest thing I've ever said to anybody.
No,
on this show.
not at all. Not at all.
It's so far away. I just heard this squeak. It's like, does he have like a parakeet or something? That'd be really interesting.
You have a toucan in there?
Look, James Sells with a shout out to the little man.
Shut up,
funny.
man.
Um,
Dude, I'm just honestly, I'm stunned he hasn't rolled up in here because there is rarely a time when I'm doing a show in my office that he doesn't just bust up in here like, hey man, who are you talking to? What are you doing? Like just coming and getting all up in the action. So that's actually kind of impressive that he's just stayed in there and made his parakeet sounds.
I was looking forward to his cameo tonight, but
Well, I can go get him. Hang on. Hey, Drew, come see. Drew.
He's working on it. All right, he comes. If he comes, he comes.
Oh, he's coming.
It's on his timeline,
He's coming.
Comment here from Todd Davis. What's going on with Goodwin and Chestnut? Goodwin's hurt for the year. Chestnut, bizarre, unavailable situation. Same thing as Denver Harris. All I can tell you is don't be looking forward to it.
Come see. Hey. Okay, come see. I'm gonna say hi. He
doesn't want to say hi.
No, he's telling me he has to go poo-poo. Okay. You want to say hi? Say hi to Preston. Hi. Come here.
Hi, Preston.
Hey, Drew.
There
what's
you go.
going on?
All right.
Let him take care of that business.
Yeah. Take care of your business. Go do what you got to do there, bud. Okay.
Yeah, he must be shy after watching Kim Mulkey and company lay an egg last night.
Oh, geez.
Man, I still can't believe that happened. It just seems like the team had bad chemistry. I'm not enough of a basketball guy to break down what happened, but shocked to say the least, because that roster looks stacked.
They'll be fine. They'll be.
Yeah, you know what it reminds me of? Remember that 2012 Miami Heat team where it's LeBron and all those superstars, and then they start the season like 500 after 18 games or whatever. Just basketball is such a high chemistry sport.
It's gonna work. It's gonna work itself out.
Preston has no kids. No, I have a kid. He's just way too young for all that. His bedtime is 7:00 tonight, man.
Dude,
he's asleep.
God
he just
bless.
turned 1.
Oh man.
So Bryce Underwood put out his top 7 today, which I was anticipating. I talked to his dad about 10 days ago. Have you followed that situation at all? It gets really interesting with all the Michigan stuff at all.
From the periphery, I have not had a conversation with Bryce Underwood or his dad or anything like that. No, like I'm not the recruiting guy, but yeah, absolutely.
I had to put a lot of energy into getting that interview. I know.
But man, the fact that LSU has a hat on the table and seems to be in the final 2 for the number 1 quarterback in the country out of the state of Michigan.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a job. That's a hell of a job, bro. Hell of a job by this staff to get to this point. I mean, I'm fascinated by the Harbaugh stuff, right? Because of this. Like, I don't care about Jim Harbaugh or Connor Sessions filming sidelines like that. I think everybody cheats, and if anybody points the finger at you and starts shining the light on your program, they'll find something. I don't care who your program is. So I'm not going to sit here and throw stones, but because of the Bryce Underwood thing, what if Harbaugh gets fired? I mean, that's got to have some impact, right? I mean, how does it not?
So first off, to get to Bryce Underwood's dad, I had to interview his old coach who got so sick of hearing of me. He's like, "You want his dad's number?" I was like, yeah, great. So, and just reading in between the lines, he was very dismissive of Michigan. I was like, I told him from my perspective, I'm in Louisiana, we don't make it up to Michigan, but it looks like Michigan is the favorite at this point. He said, "Where'd you get that?" I was like, I just told you it was speculation. I'm going to the source, as close to the source to get the information. So I talked to his dad about the Michigan allegations 10 days ago. Right. So, and I'm going to read this to you, and I'm gonna catch your reaction. This is direct quote from his father. I
Okay.
haven't had the opportunity to watch the news to catch up on the allegations you're mentioning. I did hear about a few. The ones I've heard of, I don't think they're in the news. So with that being said, that's a huge blow because one reason we're making our decision is based on the staff that's there. Any pieces move, it's definitely going to have a huge impact on the decision. Direct quote, unedited, straight through. Man, reaction to that. I mean, because he's throwing out like other stuff possibly going on. And, mind you, this is on the heels of raving about Joe Sloan. I mean, raving.
Yeah.
Am I overreacting by saying, man, that sounds like
no, I mean,
it's a thing.
If the man's father is saying that staff changes would have an impact, how do you, like, on the record?
On the record.
How do you not take that at face value?
Immediately after it, I was like, and you're fine with me publishing this, correct? I have your permission to write this down and publish. She's like, yeah, go for it.
No, dude, that's a great get too. That, I mean, the only thing that I would submit is to say, okay, if Harbaugh does get fired or leaves for the NFL, who do they hire? Because it could be sort of the shiny new thing, depending on, because look, let's be real, man. You watch Michigan's offense right now; it's not exactly like, it's not LSU.
It's quality, but it's not high. I mean,
not LSU.
The momentum that's swinging to LSU's way, just the way the dominoes are falling for LSU, the way he enjoyed his video. Did you see the video of him on the video board? I know you weren't there that day, but they put him on the Jumbotron, and the dude was swag surfing. I mean, he was having such.
Did people know who he was? Did the fans know who he was? You think?
Well, I sit next to Shea Dixon in the press box.
No, I mean the fans, like when they put him on the press, like on the video, did the fans in the
there was a dull
stadium
roar, if I recall right.
Okay.
There was a dull. I think some recognized him, but they put all the recruiting guys next to each other, and we all just about shit our pants when we saw it, man. I mean, it was like, oh my god, that's Bryce Underwood on the Jumbotron. And he stood out because he's wearing an NBA YoungBoy shirt that was. Very,
I saw pictures from the sideline, kind of like a tie-dyed shirt, wasn't it? I mean,
it was black with a black and white picture of him, and it was striking. I'll put it like that. It was striking. I don't know if I'd wear it, but the dude rocked it and he had some swag with it. But yeah, they rolled out the red. They introduced him to Theo Vaughn. I got to talk to Theo Vaughn a little bit about it. And Theo was like, dude, he was the best guy ever.
Bro, Ryan Terrier thinks Theo Vaughn is the funniest guy in the history of the world. Here's the Bryce number.
He's pretty.
And I don't get it. Like I don't know Theo Vaughn at all. Like I can't tell you that, but Ryan Terrier will send me clips probably once a week of Theo Vaughn bits, comedy, and I've never laughed at one of them ever. It's just not. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just not the fun guy. Yeah, there's the Bryce Underwood with NBA YoungBoy.
You see the NBA YoungBoy? Yeah, it's pretty striking. Like that stands out if you see it. Anyways, what else stood out when I was talking to him? And I'm interesting this way. This was an interview, the way it panned out. I almost didn't want to write it out official, like, journalistically styled paper, AP style, whatever you call it. Right. Cause I almost wanted to put it Q&A because of the way it turned out. But, I asked him in this order. I said, okay, well, you're announcing your top schools soon and the decision's coming January 6th. So that's going to be pretty soon. Right. Are Michigan, LSU, and Colorado going to be included on that list? That was the best I could tell, the top three, just guessing. Now, Colorado is going to be a distant third because they have a highly recruited 2025 quarterback committed.
Right.
And he said, they're definitely on there as far as I know, but you're going to have to change that order around a little bit.
What order did you give?
I said Michigan, LSU, Colorado. Right. And then I said, okay, well, how about LSU, Michigan, Colorado? And he said, now that works for me. A little interesting.
So Dad's a fan.
Dad's a fan. That's right. And I asked him, is LSU the front runner? And he said, I would have to say yes.
Wow.
Or I'm sorry,
that's incredible.
The team to beat.
Okay.
So yeah,
that's
LSU,
semantics, but yeah, I mean, he's telling you that
it's just one of those things where I just want to make sure I'm not misphrasing it.
Yeah.
Get somebody upset, but that's is that not as eye turning as am I overreacting by saying that's very eye turning that he would say these things?
I don't think it's overreacting. The only thing I would wonder is like who ultimately is making the decision. Is it because look, man, I mean, you've done it long enough to know that every recruit has look at Landon Collins.
Yeah, I used to think Mom was undefeated in this. I really did. And that happened. So I don't know. I'll say this. The father does seem to be very involved. He's been to LSU on all 4 visits.
That's the crazy thing, right? Because it's not just been Bryce Underwood. He's come with his parents, I think, and maybe a sibling too.
Mm-hmm.
And
no, they brought him on the 2nd, 3rd, 4th trip. They brought the whole family.
Remember, that is on an unofficial visit. Most people, I'm sure, know this, but just like you pay your own way. That is not like LSU can foot the bill on an official visit for the recruit and a guest. Yeah. But you're bringing your whole family. You're flying down here, spending the weekend hotels. Yeah, you're right. That's not a day. That's not a day trip from Natchez, right? You're hopping on a bird. You're flying down here, and you got a couple nights in a hotel.
Price.
Yeah, man.
And his dad is, by the way, the running back coach for Belleville. So,
wow.
Again, seems like a very tight relationship there. I almost thought that talking to his father was more insightful than talking to the kid himself. 9 times out of 10, recruit interviews with the recruit themselves are not very insightful. They tend to play it pretty close to the vest. And, you're talking to a 16, 17-year-old.
What's the best one you've ever done?
Oh, Colin Hurley.
Yeah,
Colin Hurley. Are you kidding? Colin Hurley has written columns for me. I shit you not. He wrote like a 1,200 word column after LSU lost to the SEC championship on like state of the program moving forward, that kind of stuff, right? And he was asking me where it was at. He's like, I'm turning this in for class credit. So wow. I need you to publish this. And no typos, not one typo.
That's crazy.
Perfectly written. Manship would have given him a passing grade on it. And I'm serious. Like, it's unbelievable how articulate he is. But for every Colin Hurley, there are 99 kids who give like 1-word answers.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, all of that just incredibly interesting, especially as the Michigan stuff gets messier and messier and messier, man. Oh boy, I have to think that LSU's in good position. January 6th, but he'll have a year left after junior. January 6th.
Long way to go.
Stay on board. But we'll see how that goes. Matt, can't tell you how much I appreciate you filling in for Zack tonight.
You got it, dude.
Great stuff as always. Fun show. Matt, what was I always try to give people a bit of a shout out where they can keep up with your work. I think they'll have trouble not finding you. What was it you said just Google that Moscona last time?
It's like if you can spell my name, you can find me. But the vowels often get people. Dude, I was doing an interview on a Saturday. I was doing a hit on a Chicago station. It was like a gambling show before LSU and Bama. Yeah. And the host called me Mike Moscona. And I was like, nope.
That's worse than what was the intro? Matt Moscona, M-O-S-S Scona.
Yeah,
that's
our voice guy. Like the voice guy for the radio station has mispronounced my name for 13 years.
You just roll with it,
bro. At this point, and by the way, I do have an Uncle Mike, and the host of that show was super, super, super apologetic, and actually messaged me and was like, "I'm so sorry. I called you Mike because I was trying so hard to say your last name correctly that I called you Mike." I was like, don't worry about it. Trust me, it's all good. But yeah, so anyway, if you could spell my name, you could find me online. I'm everywhere.
Got to say, I'm blessed. No one has ever had trouble spelling or figuring out my name.
Yeah.
TigerBait.
You got a lucky, bro. You got
my wife, not so much. She's not nuts over it, being a girl as a guy. But anyway.
That's so true.
TigerBait X Scone combo made my day. Thank you, and hashtag Team Drew.
What up, Dalton? Thank you.
All right, Matt, thank you for joining us, guys. If y'all liked the video, make sure to hit the like to help our algorithm get more views, all that fancy stuff, and make sure to share the video to your social feed, your Twitter, all that good stuff. Appreciate you for coming on. Thank you, Matt, for filling in. Y'all have a great night. I will see y'all Monday, and I will see y'all after the Florida game.